Pardon me. Okay, I'm going to make this a quick one because I don't have a lot of time on the phone here before I run out of storage. I was watching some coverage of the sentencing hearing for Tamara Leach and Chris Barber today. Those two are a couple of the organizers of the trucker convoy protest, which occurred in Ottawa in the winter of 2022. I just finished my bacon and eggs. It was good. Anyway, here's the thing. The Crown prosecutor is looking to get 7 years for Tamara Leach in prison and 8 years for Chris Barber. Total bullshit charges, but anyway, that's what they're looking to do. It's a political show trial, is essentially what it is. On top of that, there's a class action lawsuit against the trucker convoy. So I guess this would be against Tamara Leach and Chris Barber, the organizers. And the lawsuit has to do with the honking, the truck's honking horns. Now, here's the thing. There was a day or two of honking, and then there was an injunction put against the protesters, ordering them to basically cease and desist. No more honking. And they obeyed that. Now, I think in the daytime, they did have something where once an hour or once every 2 hours or something, they did honk their horns for a minute or something. But other than that, they didn't honk because the injunction was against it. Now, I think the injunction allowed them to do that, so they were operating under the terms of it. Anyway, here's the thing. These people are claiming to be emotionally traumatized by the honking of truck horns. They're claiming to be permanently damaged by the honking of truck horns. How friggin' weak are these people? Really? I mean, look, I'm going to tell you a story. I don't tell this story very much because it's a disturbing story. It disturbs me, and I lived through it. And I don't really want to disturb people all the time with this stuff. But I'm going to tell you a story. When I was 14 years old, I got into some trouble there. My stepmother pulled a knife on me because I was going out to Mass, and she didn't like Catholics. Threatened to cut me up, going to cut me. She called me a bastard and told me she'd cut me into little pieces if I ever darkened her doorway again. This is after she chased me down the stairs out of the building onto the street with a butcher knife in her hand. Right on my heels going down the stairs with a friggin' butcher knife in her hand. Anyway, I got labeled incorrigible because the social worker came into the picture from the children's aid. She didn't want to deal with a teenager. Labeled me incorrigible under the old Juvenile Delinquents Act, which was still the law in those days, back in 1982 and 1983. I went to jail for 7 months. Now, when I was in jail, there were girls in the jail too. They were kept separate from us. They slept at the opposite end of the building and so on. But we did come together sometimes in common areas, and I did get to know all the girls. We had one girl who escaped, and she was caught in Toronto. She made it all the way from Kingston, Ontario to Toronto, Ontario, which was quite an accomplishment. And she had stolen a hairbrush out of a store in the Eaton Centre, and that's how she got caught. They brought that girl back at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I got woke up to the sound of that girl being raped with a plunger handle to teach her a lesson about escaping. And the next day, a bunch of the guards were standing around laughing about how they Johnny F'd the bitch. And for years after, I woke up with that sound in my head. After I got out of there, I woke up with that sound in my head. I think that would qualify me as traumatized. Yet every day, I get up and I go about my business. I suck it up, and I do what I gotta do. The second day I was here at this camp, I got to go out of my tent, because I was living in a tent at that time. and I got to listen to my little cat Muella being killed by a fisher. That sound is also up here in my mind. I've got all kinds of sounds like that in my mind. I've heard and seen some pretty awful things. And yeah, I'm probably traumatized. But yet every day I do what I gotta do. Now, my question is, if I can do that, why the hell can't those people do it? Truck horns. Yeah, imagine listening to your beloved pet being killed by a fish, or imagine listening to another human being being raped with a friggin' plunger handle. You go through that, you've got something to complain about. Friggin' truck horns, give me a break. And the thing is, we had an MP, this woman in Parliament, stand up during the trucker convoy protest in Parliament, and she actually said that the honking stood for Heil Hitler. Honk honk was code for Heil Hitler. Imagine. And she was in tears and talking, how we get Heil Hitler. Come on. What a stupid, this is what we're living with here. And these are the people that are now putting these other people in jail. These weak, stupid people. And these are the people who have the power in our society. That's scary. That's really scary. And like I say, I don't tell this story